You can go in and push yourself as hard as you can on the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. But if you're not pushing yourself equally as hard on those accessories, you won't be seeing the progress that you want. What's up everyone, David here. Got a new video for y'all today. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So don't miss out. Now today, we're going to be talking about powerlifting, specifically the squat, the bench, the deadlift, the big three movements right here. And realistically, you don't have to be a powerlifter. This is really just for anyone who's interested in getting those numbers higher. I'm talking about getting stronger, not necessarily getting bigger. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about training for looks. I'm talking about loading up weight on the bar, squatting up and down, pressing, getting the bar off the ground, moving weight, getting stronger. That's going to be the main emphasis. We're going to be going over what I personally like as accessory movements to help with those three. I'm talking about 3 exercises that really have helped me build up my squat, 3 exercises that have helped me build up my bench press, and 3 that have helped me build up my deadlift. First up, we got the squat. So squat, I'm talking about the biggest lower body lift you can think of. It's the first one that you're going to be doing in competition if you decide to be a power lifter. Where exactly is it that you struggle? Do you struggle with the bottom half? Do you struggle with the lockout? Regardless, wherever it is that sticking point is, number 1 key accessory that I'm pretty sure is going to help you out: box squats. Box squats have been the biggest game changer when it comes to building up my squat weaknesses, and specifically that weakness is in the bottom portion. I come down into the squat, go all the way, I come up 1 or 2 inches, and then I get pinned right there. I dump the bar. The reason why is because my hips shoot up first before the rest of my upper back. I gotta get stronger in that bottom half of the movement. So when I go ahead and do my box squats, I do them on a low box. I go down, squat, and I hold it there. The main emphasis behind a box squat is you don't want to necessarily sit on the box. I feel like that's another little thing that I've changed over the years that I have found have really helped me, is I come down onto that box. I don't actually put my entire body weight onto it. All I'm doing is I'm coming down to that box and I'm just tapping it. I'm barely hovering over it. It's more of a gauge to let me know once I go down low enough, and then I explode back up. The reason why I don't like sitting completely on it is because I feel like I'm going to lose all that tension. You sit down in a normal chair, do you really still think that you're going to be bracing your core as much as if you were just hovering in the air? So I do my box squats realistically more along the lines of a pause squat. I'm just pausing on the box. I'm barely tapping it, but I'm not actually using it to sit on it. If you struggle with the lockout, the upper half of the movement of squat, okay, you could always use a higher box. Me, I usually go with a 14-inch box because that's where I've noticed it has really helped me. Another thing to take into account, wherever your sticking point is on the squat, set the box height to something a little bit lower, because wherever it is that you see yourself starting to struggle on the movement, that's not actually where you're the weakest at. You're actually weaker a little bit before that, because that's when you actually struggle. It's going to take some time for you to actually hit that sticking point and then grind it out, decelerate, and then actually come to a complete stop. Think of it like you're driving a car. If you're going 65 miles an hour on the freeway and you hit the brakes immediately, does the car stop right there? So it's driving, hit the brake. Does it stop right here? Or does it slow down and actually end up right here? Same thing with your squats. You're driving the squat up, you hit the brake right here, that's your weak point. But by the time the bar stops accelerating, you might actually be right here. So this is not your sticking point. It's right here where you hit the brakes. Think of it like a car. Set your box height a little bit lower, and that goes for any lift. Second accessory that has really helped me out, any type of quad bias compound movement. And I'm really thinking about this as isolating those quads. So slightly different variation. There's really 2 that I go with. I either go with a hack squat or I go with a leg press. Regardless of which one I'm doing, I'm having them done with the intention of feeling as much weight and as much strain on those quads. Another thing I like to really do when it comes to this is I like to go with the full range of motion. Just how in the squat, you got to make sure you're squatting down to depth. When I'm doing my leg press, I don't like just doing quarter reps at a time. I know a lot of people that like to really load up the weight on there. It's really easy to ego lift on the leg press. But when it comes to strength, there's standards to this. So I try to go as low as I can on the leg press, at least as much as my ankle mobility really allows me to. When it comes to the hack squat, I'm really emphasizing trying to go as low as I can, really trying to maximize that knee bend, really trying to make sure I hit depth, same way I do with the squat. Another thing I do with the hack squat is I try not to just bounce the sled from the bottom portion. I know a lot of people, when they do it and they load up so much weight, instead of them actually controlling the weight down and then exploding up, they just go all the way down, and then the part that actually slides is just bouncing off the rails in the bottom, and they're letting the momentum from the bounce come back up. The same way I treat my squats, I don't just lose control and just let myself fall all the way down. No, I'm going down in a nice control setting, staying nice and tight. And then from there, I'm exploding back up. The same way that I'm approaching my technique with the squat, that's the same type of technique I want to approach when I hit these quad-based squat movements, leg press and hack squat. And last one, Bulgarian split squats. Now, this one has been a relatively new one for me. I didn't really do them too often until I got this bench, but once I started implementing it, my squats have been starting to feel a lot better. Let's be completely honest. We all know we got one side stronger than the other, and it's very evident when it comes to our arms. Safe to say, one of your arms is stronger than the other. But what most people don't really think about is the fact that we also pretty often have one leg that's stronger than the other. For me personally, my left leg is a lot stronger than this one. This is the one that I push off of if I'm doing like a single leg jump. In high school, I used to throw the shot put, so this is the leg I used to bounce off of. We got to work the legs one at a time. We got to even them out. So again, quad-based movement, but now it's going to be unilateral. Uni meaning one, working one leg at a time. Starting off with my left leg first, boom, good, and then get the reps down with the right. Now with this one, I'm solely doing it for the sake of getting both legs evened out. Whenever you're doing any type of unilateral exercise, always start with the weaker side first. I always start off with my left leg, trying to really emphasize pushing off my heel, feeling in the quad. This is towards the end of the workout, so I'm already done with all my other squatting motions, all my other compounds, all my other quad-based exercises. Body weight is more than enough for me, and now I feel the difference. Now when I squat up, I don't feel like I'm pushing off of that left side first, and it ends up just tilting my whole torso. Now the bar is leaning towards one side. I definitely feel a little bit more evened out. I feel a lot better. Now my knees feel a lot more even. I don't feel like one is getting more inflamed than the other one. Work the unilateral exercises one at a time is going to have a huge carryover to the squats. Second lift in competition, got the bench press. I'm pretty sure I can speak for a lot of guys out there. This is probably going to be your favorite lift. I mean, come on, who doesn't want a bigger chest? Who doesn't want a bigger bench press? Me personally, this is my least favorite. I hate the bench press. My elbows hurt so much. I got to really make sure I warm up those shoulders. This is honestly my weakest lift, so that's why I feel a certain way towards it. But that's why it's even more important for me to really dial in these accessories to make sure I see progress. You can bench all you want. That's perfectly fine. You get better at doing something by doing that one thing, but you got to push yourself equally as hard on these accessories, because these accessories are now you taking your weak points and trying to strengthen them. So where exactly is that weak point? Again, it's really going to be individualized. For me, it just so happens to be right here, right off the chest. Similar to a squat, I go all the way down and then come up a couple inches, and then from right there, start to see the struggle. Nothing changes with the bench press. Come down, touch the chest, and then a couple inches, and then all of a sudden struggle. So it's not necessarily the lockout. It's more of like, if we were to divide it into thirds, it would be more of that lower to second third. Pause benches. I'm talking about going down, letting the bar tap your chest, let it hover there for a couple seconds. I'm not saying let it actually sink down into your chest. A lot of power lifters, they do that in competition. That may work well for them, but for me, I found that it doesn't really quite help me as much compared to if I were to just come down and tap the bar on my chest. It's barely touching my shirt. From right there, then explode up. If you want to let it sink down into your chest, okay, that's perfectly fine, because at the end of the day, you're not letting the momentum from the bounce just bring that bar back up. Whatever modification you want to make, just it's manipulating the tempo. That's really the big thing that we're doing here. So I typically have to go a little lighter, pause it right there on my chest, let it just tap. If I want to let it sink down, okay, I could always do that. But no, for me, just touch, hold, then press, and make sure you push yourself as hard as you can with these, the same way you will push yourself as hard as you can with a regular touch and go bench press. That's the problem. We do so many touch and go bench pressing where sooner or later, it's not even our strength that's carrying over to actually getting the weight up. It's literally just from you aggressively dropping the bar on your ribs, bruising your sternum, and then letting that momentum carry up. No, actually let your muscles do the work. The pec, the front delt, and the triceps. And since we're talking about those other muscle groups, that segues perfectly into that second movement. I'm talking about right here specifically for the front delt. Everyone always talks about doing tricep work for the bench press because that helps with the lockout. But what about the third muscle that gets involved with this movement? We already know it's pecs, we already know it's triceps. Front delt, I oftentimes believe this is probably the number one muscle group that gets neglected when it comes to your bench training, but it contributes greatly. What does that muscle allow us to do? It allows us to bring our arm out in front of us. And when we bench press, do we not bring our arm out in front of us? Right here. Keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it. Front raises. Get a bar, go however heavy you want, all the way up. And if you can, again, if you can, because I know sometimes our ego gets in the way and we want to go a lot heavier, form goes out the window, try to control it on the way down. And try not to use your hips to just hip thrust the bar back up like that. No, actually let your front delts do the work. Go all the way up, control it on the way down. You're going to feel a huge burn right here on the side. If you want to go ahead and do it with dumbbells, do it with dumbbells. If you want to do it with a cable that's behind you and pull out in front of you, okay, go for it. Whatever movement, whatever exercise that you choose to go about, okay, at the end of the day, it's all similar movement patterns. It's you raising your arms out in front. It's you contracting this front delt. It's you getting stronger. Don't overcomplicate it. Just address that muscle group. I just personally like to do it with a barbell because that's what I have available. Switch it up however much is needed. And now, third thing, now we can talk about the triceps. Okay, we already know triceps. Where do they come into play the most? Probably during that lockout. I know a lot of you come down, touch your chest all the way up, and then you're literally just a few inches away from getting that new PR. You're so close to getting that last rep, but your triceps just give out. Okay, make them stronger. Think of direct tricep exercises. There are so many out there. The ones that I like to do, I wouldn't necessarily say that they are skull crusher. It's more of a modified movement of that where I'm kind of rolling the dumbbells back. The way I came across this is I was watching a video of West Side Barbell and I saw that the way that they were doing it, I think they call them rolling tricep extensions, where you kind of start off in the position of skull crusher, but you're keeping those elbows super tucked in and you're kind of lowering your elbows down as if you're bench pressing, but you're also bringing those dumbbells back as if it's a skull crusher, letting the elbows come up and you're rolling into it. So it should look like this, elbows rolling into the movement. Some people, they'll see me do it and think that I'm using momentum or I'm going too heavy, and that's why I have to feel the need to roll them into position to get them up. No, that's intentional. I am doing that on purpose, and I feel a huge pump right here in my triceps. And what's even more specific is I don't really feel it necessarily in the typical areas of the tricep where we all know tricep has 3 heads. I typically feel all my tricep movements obviously on the main muscle portions. For this one, I feel it actually closer down here to the elbow. So essentially I feel like almost as if it's more in the tendon, but it actually feels good. For some reason, it actually feels like my tricep tendon is getting a pump. This lower portion of the tricep, I feel it right there, and that's the exact portion that I feel that gives out when I actually do my bench press. So this exercise, whatever I want to call it, rolling skull crusher, rolling tricep extension, whatever it may be, modified skull crusher, I feel like for me personally it has worked a lot. You can go ahead and try it for yourself. You don't like it, just stick to regular skull crushers, tricep extensions, overhead, whatever it is, just work those triceps. And lastly, deadlifts. My personal favorite, if I'm being completely honest with you, this is my best lift. This is my favorite. So if I'm being completely honest, I can get away with not doing my accessories and I'll still see progression and I'll still get stronger in this lift. But whatever your strongest lift is, treat it like all the other ones. Treat your strongest lift like your weakest lift. Really focus on those accessories, really focus on getting stronger. Just stay consistent across the 3. Because this is my strongest and best lift, I don't necessarily have a weak point. Sometimes when I'm setting up, I can only get the bar 1 inch off the ground, and then next thing you know, the rest of it is not coming up. Other times, I'll be almost done with a full rep, and I just can't lock it out. I can't push my hips through. So because this is my best lift, I don't necessarily have a weak point because it just fluctuates from week to week. I decide to train it all. If you're someone who struggles with getting the bar off the ground, then the typical go-to that I do, deficit deadlifts. You're exaggerating the range of motion. You're adding an extra 1 or 2 inches. You're really forcing yourself to drive those legs into the ground and just build up that explosive power to just rip the bar off the ground. I'm going to really exaggerate the range of motion. It's going to really force me to sink those hips lower and get a little bit more leg drive out of the bottom portion. That's where this exercise comes into play. If you're someone with those type of struggles, deficit deadlifts are going to be a great way to go. Now, on the flip side, if you're someone that struggles with the lockout portion, you get the bar, rip it off the ground, get it past your knees. But from your knee to lockout, you just hit that struggle and you just really cannot just lock out those hips. You got to switch it up. Deficit deadlifts won't necessarily help you as much with that. Yes, you can focus on your acceleration and do some speed pulls off of it, but really, let's start thinking of it as hamstrings and glutes. That last little portion from the knee up, realistically, it's more of the technique of a RDL more so than a deadlift. So what do you hit when you're doing RDLs? Hamstrings and glutes. So why not train those directly? So I'm talking about compound-based movements with the emphasis of highlighting those 2 muscle groups. The ones that I've recently been doing a lot more of, good mornings, but on a hack squat. Some people, they like to do good mornings with a barbell, but I don't like doing it with the bar on my back because then I'm stretching on my shoulders. My shoulders are still a little beat from the squats I did on Monday and the pressing that I did on Tuesday. So I like to give my shoulders a little bit of a break, and I like to do it on this machine instead. So I'm still locking myself in a position, still keeping those lats nice and tight, shoulders retracted, trying to keep my back straight. And from right here, really focusing on pushing my hips back as much as possible, trying to get as deep of a stretch in those hamstrings as I come down. And then when I go up, really thinking of it as more of a hip thrust and just pushing those hips through, especially that last portion, really contracting those glutes, thrusting your hips forward. That's exactly what some of you need to do when it comes to the deadlift, because you're so close to actually getting the weight up. You just can't anymore. Just think about contracting your glutes, hip thrust, boom, shoot forward, everything will lock out. So I've noticed that ever since I started doing these good mornings on the hack squat, it's had great carryover to my actual deadlift. And not just that, but when I do it on here, I feel my lower back being engaged in a good way. I don't feel lower back pain as in spinal. I feel the muscles, the erector spinae. I feel all of that firing up. So it's like perfect. Erector spinae, glutes, hamstrings, just overall posterior chain. Perfect exercise for someone that may be struggling with the lockout on the deadlift. And last one, reverse hyper. Now, the reverse hyper machine is a luxury. If your gym has one, consider yourself privileged. It is very rare that I see a gym, let alone a powerlifting gym, actually have a reverse hyper machine. But if you don't got one, no big deal. All you realistically need is some type of elevated platform. Think of the concept of a back extension, but in reverse. That's really all it is. Find yourself something to prop yourself up onto, swing your legs backwards. This one, again, posterior chain. I'm talking about the lower back, the glutes, and the hamstrings. I finish off all my deadlift workouts, all my quote-unquote hamstring posterior chain workouts with reverse hypers. Guys, our back, our spine is meant to be free and mobile, so let's go ahead and train it. If for whatever reason the form falls apart, which occasionally it does because no one's perfect on the deadlift and it's just a little too heavy and your lower back starts to round just a tad bit, at least I did the accessory work to specifically work those muscle groups through its full range of motion, where that slightly rounded lower back won't affect me too much on the deadlift because I actually took the time to strengthen it on this. That's the main reason why I do reverse hypers. Some of you may want to do it with the emphasis of hitting more of your glutes. Some of you may have the emphasis of doing it more with your hamstrings. Regardless, this has been one of the best exercises to build up that posterior chain, not only through the strength component of it, but also as a quote-unquote prehab exercise to just prevent long-term injury. So whatever elevated platform you may have, hop on it, swing your legs backwards. So there you have it, everyone. 3 big lifts: squat, bench, and deadlift. 3 exercises for each, total of 9. 9 accessories to really help you bring up those numbers. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Comment down below what have been the go-to accessories that have really helped you drive up those numbers on the big 3. Let's try to help each other out. And also comment down below any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is. Comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help y'all out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new videos, because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. And Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on both accounts. I put all my links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.